So this is where the girl was found, and Beechwood, okay? And here is where the Phillips Highway is. Right here. This is Beechwood. Should actually just make it smaller. Anyway, here is a picture about where the Gator Lodge is, and here is Beechwood. Okay, there we go. That's correct. So you just here's the Gator Lodge. You go out there. Now, the north side at the Nassau County line where the little girl was spotted is what he was doing. Who knows? But I guess it would be probably somewhere around here. It wouldn't be that. You just go straight down 95 and get back on beach. That's where her body was found. And it's not far from the Gator Lodge where the people said they witnessed him. And he had a red Volkswagen then, too. Well, let me go back to 1967. Debbie and I had gone up to Summer Band. Okay, me and Debbie went to school, Summer Band, and I thumbed a ride, but we ran away when they stopped. Okay. This is the book, and my God, it's hard to read, but if I could put it there. Here is a T&H, and here, and I took this to, I think along here it says Theodore Bundy right there. And I have searched this, and there's a word, it says bright red, and college, and talking to. And believe me, June 17th, and that's wrong because I was smart enough to put it further ahead. So I have the diary, and the way it goes is I picked Debbie up, and this is 1967, and we walked up to the school for summer band. I had a clarinet my mom had apparently gotten from a pawn shop for me to use. She knew I was going to keep it. And then Debbie had a flute, and she was wearing Wrangler jeans that were cut off, and I was wearing something akin to this. This is me a year later in 68. See the angst. Then this is my mom. And this is me in August of 67. That's me in August of 67, and that's about the way I would have looked, okay? That's the way I would have looked. Here is that summer with me and Janice, a girl, she got a PhD. That's the way I would have looked. And I pretended to thumb a ride. Debbie was acting like a diva. She was doing this with her hands and talking. And I said, oh, let me get you a ride. So I went across the baseball area to a circle, and I said, I pretended to thumb. And I figured if one of the older guys from the neighborhood, like Greg Powers, Craig Fagan, Paul Howard, the Wills guy, Stanley Parker, if somebody happened to have been up there playing basketball, or they had a body shop, I mean, they had a car mechanic shop in there. So you could have been out of the school. It had previously been the high school. So it wouldn't be unusual for high school boys to stop by on a summer day, maybe have somebody look at their car, play a couple rounds of basketball, something like that. So there could have been the Dione boys. Somebody could have picked us up, and it would have been okay. We wouldn't have been raped. We wouldn't have been murdered. But I put my thumb out, and then I said, you know what, maybe I'll get in trouble. I don't like doing it. So a big olive green car with fishtails went by, and that looked similar to what the Mox had. I don't think it was a Mox, but it looked similar to some the Mr. and Mrs. Mock drove, Ann Mock. So I thought, no, you know what, I'm going to get in trouble. So I walked back across, and right then there was this bright red 66 or 67 Volkswagen with chrome fenders, and it hopped in the baseball field where Debbie was sitting by the bleachers. And I assumed he had seen Debbie, but he may have seen me. I don't know. But I walked across the street, and Debbie started talking, and I just stood behind the vehicle. Now, as I approached the vehicle, it appeared to be like a white tag with black lettering. Now, I don't know. It appeared to be a black tag with white lettering. And then, this is behind the Parker's house. They had a swimming pool. And this is me a month. This is in August of 67. So this was like 2 months later. This is at Mayport Naval Air Station. There I am. So, anyway. And she talked and talked, and she said, "Get in." And I said, "No." I said, "No, we're not getting in. I just pretend. We're just pretending. It was a summer of love, and I was pretending and blah, blah, blah." So she's going to get in, and she pulled this latch, and I sat there for a minute thinking, this is not good. And then, so she was going to get in. And I said, no. I said it 3 times, and then she was going to get in. I decided, well, I can't let her go by herself. So we went around the baseball field with this guy. He wasn't wearing a shirt because I said, "Hey, naked," you know. And he had like a brand new Volkswagen, which was not typical for Jacksonville, Florida at that time. So I got in, and I said, "There's books back here." And he said, "Just move the books. Just move the books." And then we came to La Moya, and he turned left, and then we were facing what is now an Amazon store and was previously a Kmart. Kmart came in 68. At that time, it was a cow field. And here, I'll show you what I think happened to this guy, why he was here. Because he was supposed to be, if you read in Dellinger's book, he's not due in Stanford until, excuse me, he's not due there until June 25th, and this was like June 5th. Okay, so let's go here. This is a long story, Miss Grace. It is horrible and long. And I think the reason I lose is because the police don't want to say, well, he actually pulled a fast one on the police, broke out of prison, got something like a red Volkswagen, killed a little girl, and it may have been his 3rd or 4th little girl. I think he killed the Virginia Helms woman. The book, The Phantom Prince, shows that somebody knew how to do that. On the dates that she was killed, there were supposed to be the day before and the day after was supposed to be a purchase at Murray gas station. Well, somebody could easily have used his Chevron card for him and let him fly out. His brother says he was at an airport, and look at the excuse. As soon as he got his brother on that plane, he may have gone on and flown down to Jax. We had a place called Hilltops. By then, Jacksonville International was pretty big. It was out at Imonson and stuff. I'm sure there were Hertz and Avis by 70s. Golly, come on. They've been in business since the 40s. Now, what was I going to look up? Shoot, I forgot now. Oh, Confederate Point. Here we go. Confederate Point Road, that'd be better. Because what we want to do is we want to go to MapQuest. Here we go. And the reason we want to go to MapQuest is we want to do a satellite vision. I want to show you what the center of this place looked like, how close it was to our school. I think he ran out of funds. Now, you sit there and say, well, how did he have funds in 74 when he left Seattle? He had a good job all that summer. Liz was setting him up to go to college, and his new girlfriend, Carol Boone, had just gone through a divorce, and she was wacko. So the older man that she married probably settled out of court for some sum, let's say $10,000. Let's say satellite street view. Come on, machine. I want it to be in, I want it to be in natural. You know what I'm talking about? Close this thing, whatever the hell it is. We'll get there. Trust me on this. What I want to do is I want it to be, okay, here's Confederate Point. And I want it to be in well, shoot, you know what I'm talking about? I want it to be in Arial. Here in a minute. There we go. Okay. Now we'll make it large. It's a school. Okay. Confederate Point Road. Point. Okay, here's the center. See this? See this center? That's what it was like. None of this Swamp Fox Road, none of this existed. Okay, in the mid '60s, they began making this subdivision called Confederate Point. Let me come over here to the school. I didn't even pay no attention to this stupid thing. There's Lamoya. Come on. Here's the track. Here's our school. Here's the stinking Jeb Stuart Junior High School. Now, this is the baseball field. See it? Damn. Everything's right there. There's the baseball field. This is where I stood right along here by this old white house, and I thumbed a ride, and he pulled up in there. He pulled up in one of them fields right there, probably right here more likely. These buildings weren't there back then. It was right here, right here. And he pulled over here and talked to Debbie. Now, we go down here, and he pulls around, and he goes over here. This was a field. This was not a Kmart. This was not Amazon. Okay, I never cared about what was going on there, but they had broke the ground. And you think, well, they were building houses and stuff. No, see, this is the way it was. You didn't see nothing going on. I didn't have anything to do with Confederate Point. I lived in Cedar Hills. We didn't have anything to do with it. We walked along West Gannett, and we didn't care what was going on back there. But anyway, if he was in here, these roads did not exist. Before the houses were built in the 60s and 70s, they had to clear, and this is what they were clearing, stuff like this. It was wooded, and he wasn't wearing a shirt, and there was bad body odor. So I think he had taken some day labor job. He had the revolver. He could have got that anywhere. But what I think he did was, this is 67, not 74, not 78. Those are significant. 67, 74, 78. 67 is when he was supposed to go to Stanford to take the English course on the Department of Defense. He had a full scholarship. So he had, at that time, he had a scholarship to Puget Sound, which he dropped out of. Now, that doesn't make sense, does it? He's trying to impress some girl, so the first thing he does after a few months of dating is drops out? That don't even make sense, to drop out of school when you're dating somebody. So anyway, what I think they were doing at that time was clearing to build these roads and the sewer line, and then the first house went up around 68 or 69. But before they could put the houses in, they had to lay, none of this was here. This was just a wooded ass lot. Now in 78, when later on, these apartment complexes, see that? Confederate Point, the Preserve, and the Hermitage. They were built, Confederate Point and the Hermitage and the Preserve were built. And that's what Johnny was working on. And that's why Danny Parmenter, one of the Parmenters was in my class, by the way. I don't know which one it was, an older one that's not even mentioned. Let me break it off here because I'm getting tired already. I hate this stuff. Thank you.